Thank you. How you doing, babe? Yeah. Happy. There's some over here, Miss B. Which coffee machine am I using? This one or the one over there? Okay. Okay, y'all, they done set it up a little different today, so we're gonna shift it a little bit. Yeah. How you doing, baby? Did I say that already? Happy Tuesday. And today on Coffee and Conversation with your girl, Shakenya. When you get a minute, go to my YouTube channel, Coffee and Conversation with Shakenya, and hit subscribe. Oh, they're doing something over here. Look at some of the videos, and if you see any of them that you like, any of them that hit home with you, yeah, it don't matter that I'm not a celebrity. Don't let that stop you, okay? I know I'm not a household name. You don't know who I am. Don't do that. Just look at the videos. Let the videos speak for themselves. So look at about 3 of them. You want to give me a fair shot, because it's over 1,000 videos on that channel. So you want to give me a fair shot. So look at about 3. Yeah. Catch one in here. Catch one when I'm at the office. Catch one when I'm on the porch. Catch one when I'm eating, right? And I guarantee you'll get different messages. One of them you're going to share, right? So we back at our series. We raising our daughters. I know we're talking about the manipulation techniques that the baby mama or baby daddy use on the baby when they trying to get back at you. We're talking about the games that they play, the lies that they tell, the mind conditioning that they do with your baby to get back at you, right? So here we talk about how you guys can have a healthy co-parenting relationship after the breakup. No matter how you feel about them personally, yeah, you still can be able to raise that baby together. Yeah. So we talk about that here. So that paired off to self-reflecting, then that paired off to disorders. So we've been covering a lot on Coffee and Conversation, right? So that took us to our Boys to Men series, where we talked about the women solely raising these boys by themselves, right? So we had about 8 segments of that. Things you can do to help your baby, give your young man a fighting chance out here in the world if he's growing up fatherless, right? Now we're raising our daughters, and we on number 46. I know. You say, Shakenya, we only did about 9 segments for the boy. Why we got so many segments for the girls? Is women really that complicated? And we are. So yeah, no, 46 because I'm a woman. So I can get deep, I can get behind the veil, I can get up under the curtain, I can tickle your fancy, right? So yeah, we able to take it a little further with the girls. And I was raising 2. Yeah, so that put me in the thick of it, right? And considering this is my situation, you know, my problem, right? Who's better to tell it, right? So, yeah. We on part 46. So we have a 12-year-old, we have a 16-year-old, we have a 7th grader and an 11th grader. And we are doing so well. It's 2015. We are doing so well. Everything is flowing. The system working, so everything is kind of going kind of smooth. You know, all the classes are in session. You know, and we have a good routine. Me and the girls got a good routine going. Yeah. So I think I'm working for Orchard Children's Services at this time. For those of you who don't know, they specialize in foster care, right? That's when I had the opportunity to see how many children of color are in the foster care system. Yeah, I didn't understand that because I grew up knowing that it's an order of things, right? Certain areas in life, it's just an order of things. So this is a situation where something happened to your adult child maybe, and they have children. As the grandparent, if they're too young to take care of themselves, I would think that you would step up and get them and take care of them, right? If the grandma can't do it, children not old enough to take care of themselves, an auntie or uncle should kick in. So like I can't see a child just going to foster care when they have family, right? So in my case, me being my mama's oldest child, when she passed away, my grandma had them, my auntie and cousin was caring for them, right? When grandma could no longer do it, me being the oldest child, I got myself together and I got custody of them. And I raised them. Yep. Yeah, it should be an order of succession somewhere to where somebody's stepping up to keep that baby together versus that baby being in foster care and adopted out by strangers and never to be heard from again. Right? That's not what family is. You're free to do whatever you want now. So it was my place, line of succession. I got the two youngest, raised them like they were my own, right? You would have thought I gave birth to all of them. Yep. Wasn't on my baby fresh, my son, and then my two little brothers all bummy, right? It wasn't on my son got his hair cut and my other little brothers looking like don't nobody love them. Yeah, no, you wouldn't have thought that they was my brother. You would have thought I gave birth to all those kids. Yep. All of them at the barbershop until I learned how to cut them. Right? So, yeah, it wasn't easy. Yes, it was a lot to take on in my early 20s. Yes, it was, right? No, I didn't know what I was going to do, right? Only thing I knew was I was going to figure it out. I was going to figure it out. Yeah. Versus them going to foster care. Yeah. Them was my siblings. Them was my mother's children. Yeah. So you can see how right now, if my children are not as close as they was in 2015, especially with that baby being removed, how that can be a nightmare to me. Yeah, because if I go so far to get my little brothers and raise them, that should let you know what family means to me, right? And that should let you know what that sibling bond means to me, right? So that should let you know how I instilled and raised my children, right? I raised them to be close. I raised them to take care of one another. So yeah, that baby being pulled out, it's like everybody else kind of dangling because I raised them so close. You know how that be when you raised with your mama, y'all all grow up the same, you know what I mean? Yeah, my children ain't no different. Yeah, so yeah, that versus that going to foster care. And then taking care of them, that was just the right thing to do. That was what I was supposed to do. Yeah. I didn't play no favoritism. Yeah. I know what that feels like. Yeah. I was loved, but yeah, they favored my little brother. And probably because he was in this a lot of reasons, so I'm not even gonna go through all of it. But my little brother right up under me, yeah, he got away with getting out of washing the dishes, and he got away with murder. He did, but so I wouldn't want no child to feel like that. Yeah, I don't play favoritism. I treat all kids the same, no matter what. You wouldn't even know children that's my blood children and biological children from grandchildren that's not my grandchildren. You wouldn't know, right? That's why it bothered me when I told you about how the grandmother played favoritism with my baby and her little brother. I don't like that. And then that was a double whammy when I ran into the sister. And I sort of confronted her about what was going on. And the first thing came out of her mouth was parents doing what they supposed to do. And she said favoritism. Favoritism? No, that's what your mama do. I don't do that, right? So that's why I cut the conversation short, because already I know she's been misled, right? So that let me know somebody been talking about me, for her to be able to say that to me, right? I know you got to pay attention to all the clues. If you're in a situation where you fighting your baby mama and baby daddy and they using this baby against you, and you trying to figure out where certain elements and certain things are coming from and whatnot, yeah, somebody playing games, and you can narrow it down to who and where and why. I know. Yeah, y'all shouldn't be doing that to one another when y'all share a baby. Yeah. Yep, I will never make a child feel like that. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, so that goes deep, right? So, for that to be one of my nightmares right now, I mean, I would have had to tell somebody that. That's what I'm saying. Your baby mama and your baby daddy could be your worst enemy, because they know everything about you. So, when y'all raising kids together, it's best for y'all to be friends. The best of friends versus being enemies, because somebody want to take you down, it's definitely gonna be your baby mama, baby daddy, or your ex-husband or ex-wife, because they know everything. They know your strengths, they know your weaknesses, they know your nightmares. And if they manipulative, they can bring it all to life. My ex was so smart, so cunning, so diabolical. He brought all of it to life. All my nightmares have been brought to light. Everything that I kind of shelter my children from, they've been exposed to. Everything that I thought could never happen, happened. Yeah, unless I'm just a bad luck charm and I'm just doing everything wrong. That don't happen to nobody. That don't happen to nobody. That don't happen to a whole family. It don't happen. Maybe one of, not all of it. All of it. I have experienced all of it in the last 6 years. So let's see where we are. 2 things that you should get from that. There shouldn't be so many children of color in foster care. And foster care is a place for a child with no family. Like, everybody died of a horrible accident or something, and they don't have nobody they're related to, and they just, But if they have family, and what else should you get out of that? Yep, even if the person that passed away has multiple children, everybody in the family should get a child, so those kids can stay together. So let's see, back to the girls. Yeah, I ain't play favoritism with the girls. They had equal time with me, right? Equal compliments, equal attention. Yeah. It's very important that they had mommy time with me. Yeah. So we had a pretty good routine. Yeah. So in the mornings, we would drop the baby off right down the street from the house, right? So you're looking at, like, I stay by Telegraph, so you're looking at like 7 Mile Lasher, right? And from there, we head to Ferndale to drop my oldest daughter off, right? That's like 8 Mile Woodward, right? And then from there, I was working at Orchard, so I headed all the way back to Evergreen and Timber. Yep. Not complaining, just letting you know that was the daily routine, right? And then I leave Evergreen and 10 Mile and head all the way back to 8 Mile and Lasher. I mean Woodward. And then back to 7 Mile and Lasher. And that was every day, right? So you're looking at after basketball practice, picking them up, and then the baby might still have cheer practice. So that can be possibly Myers and Finkel. And then go back home, Telegraph, cook dinner, and then come back to Finkel and Myers. This is every day. So I know when I say your kids should be keeping score, this is a good time for my kids to be keeping score. Meaning that No matter what that daddy and grandma did, it shouldn't have been nothing they could have said or done to break the bond that I should have with my children. So at this time, this is our routine. This is what we're doing every day, right? Some days after school, the baby might have cheer practice on Greenfield. So we heading to Greenfield, right? In the midst of everything else that I'm doing. It's a good chance she might have practice on Livernois near 7 Mile. It's every day. It's every day. And then when golf kick in, it's a good chance that I'm dropping her off on Plymouth. Plymouth and, what's that? Is that Berg Road at that golf course? Or, I remember she shot out there and went out to Bloomfield somewhere. I remember dropping her off out there. I remember taking her to, a couple other golf courses. 7 Mile, definitely. At that golf course. And then Midnight Golf, she was meeting over there on Mound Road. I know, so I wanted you to see the routine. Then I also want you to calculate the mileage. And calculate how much money is possibly being spent on gas. And not to mention the time that's being put in, because this is what I did every day consecutively while they were in school. That's a good mama. That's a good mama. Yeah, I think so. Right? So yeah, baby, somebody should be keeping score, even the dad, to notice that I'm doing all the heavy lifting. They should have been offering extra gas money or something. You know what I'm saying? But no, nothing extra. He was mad that he was paying that child support. And that child support only lasted for a week of gas. But he was mad at that. Hated that he had to do that. He said, we share her. I shouldn't have to do that. Yeah, but I need help. Because those other 3 weeks, so you're looking at $300 at least or more in gas a week. I know these kids don't know what we go through as parents. They don't know the half. Okay? Especially, and I'm going to say just moms, or the ones that's doing the heavy lifting. And that's majority of the moms that do all that, right? Primary caregiver, right? So let's see. Back home, cook dinner. A lot of driving right now. Yeah. So I'm getting my mommy time in with the girls, because after we drop the baby off, it's just me and the oldest on our way to Ferndale. So our car ride conversations are getting a little more intense. They're getting a little more mature. We're talking about boys. We're talking about sex. We're talking about possibly working now, because she's at an age, right? So if not working with me, time to start looking for a job, right? Because by this time I hadn't got the contracts yet, but I have started the cleaning company, filed it, talking about it. We're about to do this. Actively looking for places like Janet King, Coverall, Key People, because I eventually signed up with Key People. Hey, Isaiah, baby, thanks for checking in, right? So, yeah, but not working. So right now, I have to prepare her for that, right? So that means how to dress for an interview, right? What to wear, right? How to carry yourself on the interview. We're doing mock interviews to get her comfortable with answering questions. We're filling out fake applications, so she'll know how to fill it out. So that's what I'm doing with that 16-year-old, right? So, yeah, at that time in her school, weed was probably about the most, and it was probably just a handful of kids that did it. She was in a good environment at Ferndale. Yeah, I love that school. I love that school. Yep. She, good environment, learning, her academics, everything. Her sports, basketball, we good. That baby, I got my ride in time with her in our car ride conversations, taking her to practice. Because not only was she with me and I'm taking her to practice, but when I was set up at the different schools for the vendoring events, the resource fairs, to promote my youth program, the baby would go with me at this time. So she helping me set up my table. She's reaching out, bringing people to the table. This is what she's doing. This is what we're doing, right? We still having events, so her and the baby is still hosting. So they'll be at there dressed in black, telling people where to go, telling people about the program. We out passing out flyers together. So whether it be me on a campaign, promoting a candidate, we passing out flyers, going door to door, or we're passing out flyers for one of the events. Yeah, I kept them busy. Yeah, that's the key when you're raising little girls. You got to keep them busy. Yeah, so don't think I was overwhelming them. Don't think they was doing too much. I made everything we was doing fun. Yeah, so, yeah, because we probably got ice cream after we passed out those flyers, right? So, it's always a reward at the end, right? So, yeah, we're doing pretty good. Let's see where we at. We had our time. They enjoying life. They have a sets of friends. Yeah, they both have their own sets of friends. They skating a lot. So on the weekend, they either skating or they staying the night over family and friends' house. The baby might be with her dad. The oldest might be up with her dad. But for the most part, yeah, they hanging out. They having fun. They living life. They best life, right? Yeah, those relationships that you have with your family, like, was so important. So I grew up with my cousins, right? So I wanted to make sure my kids grew up with theirs, right? So us going over my aunt's house to get my hair did, us going over there for holidays and different traditions and whatnot over time, just popping up over there. Yeah, they were pretty close. Both my daughters have cousins, my little cousins that are the same age. Now, the baby actually is the same age as one of my little cousins, and they only 4 days apart. Yes. So when her mom was in labor, me and the guy that I'm going through this with, we was married at the time. I'm pregnant in the hallway while she having my little bitty cousin. So it should be a special connection here, right? And then one year for their birthdays, I took them to an art store. Found out they have that in common, right? So they both like to draw. So as a birthday present, I took both of them to this art store and let them pick out like their first little supplies, the books, the pencil, nothing major, but something for them to remember and start, right? Yeah, you have to pour into your babies. When you see that they have a gift and you see they got a certain talent, you gotta pull it out. You gotta try to pull it out. So that drawing, just knowing that she liked to draw and knowing how to draw, I don't already jump 4 steps ahead. She's gonna be creating our logos for all the businesses. She's gonna be doing all the graphics for our businesses. Them two together, oh yeah, I'm thinking future. Right? Because the children are our future. So I'm thinking futuristic with these children, right? So, yeah, but that was the start. Going to that art store and letting them pick out what they wanted to start. So, yeah, that was a relationship that should have been cultivated. That was a relationship that should have been, they should be close. They should have that, right? But when he pulled her out of our life, he didn't just pull her out of my life. He pulled her out of her life. He pulled her out of my family's lives, my aunties, my cousins, both the villages, everything, the village, everything, right? So, yeah, when you stop a child from going to see their daddy and going to see their mama, yeah, you're not just hurting that parent. You hurting the whole family and that child, right? So, let's see. Yeah, so that's a story that I told all the children. I will share good stories about the marriage. Didn't share nothing about the bad times and nothing like that. Yeah. Not saying I sugarcoated anything, but you want to keep that parent in a good light. You want to save face with that parent, right? So you don't want to talk about all the bad times, everything. What you need, baby? You okay? Oh, okay. Make sure I ain't in your way. That's all. Okay. And good morning if I didn't say that. Yeah. And so, yeah, so I never talked about the bad times. Yeah. But I'm quite sure he did. I'm quite sure he told her about every bad incident that we ever had, every fight that we ever had. Yeah, that's that inappropriate conversation that you're having with a child. Yeah, so either they doing it, he probably wanted to beat me to the punch because he probably thought since I hated him so much that I was doing it. I don't know. But that's what they do. That's a manipulation too. Yeah, that they want to bring you down. They want to make you look bad. They will talk about everything that happened bad in the relationship. And so when you guys break up, y'all have to determine what story y'all want to tell the kids. Yeah. You gotta agree on what you want to tell. Because see, you can't be over here telling a fluffy story for why y'all broke up. Oh, it just didn't work out. We just didn't see eye to eye. But I love him dearly, right? And then the other person saying she cheated or he cheated. He cheated with such and such on this day, and I caught him and I rolled up. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that because now you got this baby looking at this parent, right? So if you're gonna say that the parent cheated and that's why you broke up, you gotta add on and follow it up with, but you forgave them. Y'all still chose to part ways, but y'all remain friends. You still got love for them. Y'all gonna still work together, and then you have to demonstrate that as the relationship goes on, right? How y'all working together. Like me, him signing her up for cheering, me dropping her off to every practice. Him signing her up for golf, me dropping her off to every practice and giving him information to midnight golf. Stuff like that, right? Y'all working together, right? So let's see, where are we? At the breakup, yeah, that baby has to love you equally, respect y'all equally, yep. You don't want to make the other one look bad, right? I know I be trying to paraphrase. I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah, so you can't. You have to follow what you forgive them. Forgive the baby's anger. Because you can't raise a baby with somebody if you are still mad at them and you haven't forgiven them for what they did, right? Because whether you know it or not, you spewing out hatred when talking to that baby about that parent, right? You doing evil things, little hateful things, and you probably don't even know it subconsciously. You know what I'm saying? The baby, you get a flyer for a basketball game or something coming up, an event that's coming up. You get it, it's in your car, you ain't even thought about calling that other parent. And whether you did it intentionally or subconsciously because you're just not thinking about them because you hate them so much. Either way it go, they at a disadvantage because you're not telling them what's up. Right? They shouldn't have to go all out their way to call up to the school and find out what's going on when you pick this baby up every day. So as soon as you got that notice from that baby, you should have been texting them, you should have been sending them a picture, and you should have been calling them and letting them know the baby got a game coming up, blah, 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 to give you enough time to be able to be there. Take off work, do what you got to do. Enough time to prepare. Right? That's how you co-parent. So let's see. So there's no way that I was doing all this in 2015 that there is no love and respect for this. So for the baby to go without talking for so long, we used to talk every day on purpose. I wonder what could have stopped that. That was something that my mama did with me. That was something that my aunties and my grandma did with me. That open line of communication. That was something that I did with my boys, my oldest boys. Why would this baby be the only one? So yeah, we talked every day on purpose. So yeah, the pain is unbearable, right? That baby daddy knew how much that would hurt me to lose communication and not have communication with that baby, right? So what he probably told her to do, don't talk to me. Don't tell me nothing. So now, remember when I had to reprogram her on those Mondays, when I picked her up from there, it was hard to get her to talk to me. It was like pulling teeth. Yeah, that's why, because somebody was telling her, do not talk to me. I'm hard to talk to, is what they told her. You say that to a baby enough times, you're going to condition her mind to thinking that I am hard to talk to. Yeah, but why would she think that? When we have good conversations and she see me talking to the other kids and she see me having conversations with my aunties and them, and somebody telling her this stuff. I know, y'all better stop playing these games with this baby. Yeah. So let's see, 2015, no love for me now, right? Talking every day on purpose, pain unbearable, right? So moving on, we in a good place in 2015. Yep. Both the girls are pure, right? Everybody's happy. Happy, happy, happy. Everybody happy. Yeah, so we're in a good place. But we're not going to just get past the fact that seeds have been planted already. Yeah, we've covered them in the... Yeah. So seeds have been planted. So jealousy, envy, hate, and favoritism have been introduced to the family. Well, introduced to that baby in the way of planting seeds, right? Also, we've discovered that there's an inappropriate relationship with my baby and her grandma and her daddy, right? And also there are inappropriate conversations being held by this time with that baby, right? This is all we have uncovered this far in 2015. So even though everything is going good, everything is sweet right now, we're not going to just forget that those things have happened and been planted in that baby, okay? So now we're about to introduce something else. Boundaries and the lack of. Yeah. This is why it's important in the workshop that we have the grandparents workshop. Yeah, because it's a difference with a grandparent that's taking care of children because their child has passed on or in prison or is unable to care for them, and so they're solely taking the responsibility of caring for the children versus a grandparent in the lives of children where the parents are active. So we talk about this in the grandparent workshop. We want to make sure that you know that line, right? So that you don't cross it. So I use an example of when the mother dropped the grandchildren off to the grandmama. The little boy had dreads. Grandma didn't like the dreads, so grandma took it upon herself to take him to the barbershop. Ain't called nobody, ain't checked in with her son, ain't checked in with the mama who dropped him off. None of that. She just said, yeah, that's a grandma overstepping boundaries. Anything that's going to alter how that baby look or how that baby feel about certain things, you might want to check in with that parent to make sure it's okay. So by this time at 12 years old, we're about to come into that right now because the grandma and the TT down took her to get her hair did at a salon. Now, this is an issue where if the child was coming over there, hair always matted and something like that, I can see a grandma and a TT jumping in, but still knowing that they will call and ask permission though, right? But if not, and they just took it upon themselves, I can see that, right? But I keep my baby's hair did. Her hair is down her back because I keep it did, right? I braid her hair just like y'all see me braid them babies' hair, right? So, yeah, if it's anything fancy, I know how to flat iron, I know how to do hair, right? But if it's anything out my league, I have a cousin that does hair, right? So we definitely going over there to get our hair did. So this is what we do. We're not at the salon. We're not, right? And what we look like it, right? So I took her to get her hair did. I told Dad, don't do it. Tell your mom and your sister that's okay, thank you, but there's no need for that because I'm doing her hair, right? So not only did they call and ask permission from me, didn't call and ask permission, but they took it upon themselves to keep taking her every now and then. Yeah. In spite of how I felt, right? If they would have called and asked permission, I would have told them no with reason. Yeah. Yeah. First of all, I would have let them know that I do her hair. Yeah, I don't like a lot of people with hands in your hair. That's how your hair fall out, right? She don't need that. I take the time to do her hair. That's something that I enjoy doing, right? Because hair day is usually me, her, and my oldest daughter. So while I'm taking her hair down, the oldest is taking her hair down, you know? So it was a thing. It was our quality time. It's what we did, right? So, yeah, and like I said, if I wanted anything more than that, we over my aunt's house. So that means that's a controlled environment and we around family, right? So if I'm preserving innocence, the last thing I want is my baby to be in a salon listening to grown women gossip, right? Smelling weed in and out. Watching dudes come in trying to get on the little young girls that's in there, right? That whole gangster music, like that whole environment there, that culture, that I ain't want my baby in that. You can't preserve innocence with a baby in that environment. It's too much to see. It's like an amusement park, right? Now you opening doors. Now you sparking up curiosity. Now you, oh yeah, they kept doing it, right? So they kept taking her, didn't ask, did it again. So this happened from time to time. No call, nobody asking permission. I don't know until I see her. And she looked different, grown up, right? Fix it, Jesus, fix it. Anything that's going to change the baby's appearance, you have to check in with the parents to make sure it's okay. It could be down all the way down to eating habits, right? You might be Muslim. You probably don't want your baby to eat pork, right? So when they go to grandma's house, that's the first thing she got on the stove, trying to feed them, right? Knowing how you feel about it, knowing what you said, knowing you have restrictions. That's a grandparent overstepping their boundaries, right? So yeah, y'all got to be on the same page. And grandparents, it's okay for you to check in. Yeah, don't feel away. Like her grandmama used to feel like I ain't gotta call her. What I'm gonna call her for? Bitch, because that's my child, right? Oh yeah, I should have stopped her from going over there so many times. If it wasn't for my morals and my values, God damn it, I would have. Fixing Jesus is a Christian show. Everything that was working for me actually worked against me, right? Everything that I know to be right worked against me, right? Because yeah, I could have stopped her. I could have played the same games they played. I could have told her how he tried to unalive me twice. I could have told her how he cheated on me, how I seen him in the bar with a white bitch. I could have went hard if that was my goal and if that was my mission. But it wasn't. I'm all about family. That's her father. Yeah. He should have felt just as much importance of me as I felt of him being in her life, right? That love and respect should have been there, right? So, fix it, Jesus. Yeah, so I didn't do that. Yeah, I didn't want her growing up too fast. So, even though she's 12, with the seeds that have been planted, the manipulation tips that have been used, the lies, she's 13 mentally. Yeah. It's not bad because girls mature faster than boys. Girls pick up on stuff a little bit faster sometimes. So maturity is bound to happen, right? But by me trying to preserve innocence, you want to keep it at a cap, right? So yeah, her being 12 but mentally being 13 because of what dad and him had already implanted, you got to be careful. You got to be careful, right? So right now we're good. Not too bad. Not too bad. I was still able to keep them in little girls' places, right? So we're good so far. Tomorrow, I'm going to mention another incident that we had because they kept coming with the dad side. I have no idea why we were fighting. I have no idea what the difference was. Why was his way of bringing her up so different than mine? I still have not a clue, right? But just know that we are fighting right now, and I'm unaware. So yeah, I'm gonna mention another incident. So with the hair debacle, a shift is developing. Nothing major, but it's shaking. The foundation is being shook right now. Something is happening. Yeah. Because Grandma, TT, and Dad are overstepping their boundaries with this hair thing. You might not think it's a big deal. That's you, right? But they overriding my request. There's no respect there for how I feel and my reasons for them stopping, taking her to the hair salon, right? Usually as a mom, my decision matters and it usually stops with the mom, right? So at this point, when I told him to tell the grandma to stop, either he said F me and didn't say nothing to her and let it continue, or he did tell the grandma and TT and they said F me and continue, right? Did it anyway. And then by the baby knowing how I feel about it, right? So if we are fighting, they won this fight. Yeah. Because it kept happening. This makes me look weak. So if you're wondering why in 2025 that there's no respect there, lack of respect, love, this is the beginning of it right now. So by them continuing to do it against my wishes, lack of respect, and I'm showing weakness. In order for me to win this fight, I would have had to say, if y'all don't stop taking her to get her hair done, I'm going to stop her from coming over here. And then if they continue to go get her hair did, I would have stopped her from coming over here until I felt comfortable letting her come back. I would have won that fight. Why the fuck is we fighting? Why is it that I just say don't take her to the hair salon and y'all just don't take her? She'll be okay. Yeah. And then you got to think about who introduced it. Was that something that she wanted to do? Did she ask for somebody to take her to the hair salon? Because all she know from me is me doing her hair and then us going to my auntie house, right? So if this is something that they do, this is part of their culture, I get it. But if this is something that I do not want and I'm solely against, it should have been a compromise. Okay, y'all can take her to y'all hair salon maybe on special occasions. Maybe on a holiday, if y'all like this lady, this is who do y'all hair. And this is, I get that. I got my thing, y'all got y'all thing. But me being a mom, I should have been able to override that. I should have been able to put my foot down and whatever I say, go. Because this is my child, right? Yeah, but why we gotta be like that? Why gotta be so much anger and beef and hostility and pulling of the child and fighting for... I don't even know what we fighting for. Why are so many people trying to take my place? Why are so many people trying to make... You know what I'm saying? What? So, yeah, made me show weakness. And she would have been just fine not going to the salon, trust me. My auntie house, controlled environment, family and friends. Yeah. So 2015, we good. The boys are good. They out on their own. They working. They with their family. So I have fatherless boys that are fathers to their children. So that's a cycle that I managed to break. So yeah, they are good. No addictions, no disorders, no police contact. All the classes are working. They're using all the tools that I gave them. And they're using all the gifts. Yeah. So, I have a perfect world. So when I be saying my world was perfect until 6 years ago, this is what I mean. So it was a perfect world at this time. Yep. The program is picking up. I've had my first interview on a local news station by now. I don't know if it was Channel 2 or Channel 4 or Mayor Jacobson, but I've had my interview. So the program is picking up. I'm getting calls. I'm in a resource binder at the juvenile court, right? A lot of social workers are circulating my information right now. So the program is doing good. I'm still working. I'm at Orchard Children's Services. So the job going good. The book is out. The book was out at that time. So selling copies. I'm actually did a couple of book signings, and I'm selling them out my trunk. So I'm buying them in bulk and I'm slanging them out my trunk. So the book is going good. Cleaning company started up. Right now I'm looking for a company, like I said, to sign up with. So yeah, that was it. So that's 2015. We're raising our daughters. So far, everything that I've told you this far that I'm doing is working. I got the product that I was looking for. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Let me shoot some waves, Instagram. I ain't mean to keep y'all too long, but I'm trying to, either I'm going to keep y'all longer or we're going to have more sessions. But I can't shortcut nothing. I can't half give. Yeah, so raising these girls is tough. Because you know what happens if you don't. Oh my God, you miss one dot. You don't cross one T. They down on there at the club. You don't want that, right? So you're doing everything you can to keep them from that, right? So, I know. See, I think that's it. I think I got everybody. And you definitely don't want her to have no issues. Okay, I'm out. Oh yeah, they was on too. Instagram. Okay, guys. Hey, Reese.